Harris is entitled to her opinion, the same way you're entitled to your opinion, the same way I hold the opinion that she and the American government are a bunch of cowards.
Oh, so fabulous.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel once again. My name is Dumebi. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here. Welcome back. So today's video, we have something very interesting. About late last month, that is the month of March, the Vice President of the US, in the person of Kamala Harris, made a visit to West Africa, Ghana specifically. It was all over the news. There were lots of speculations as to what is she doing in Ghana, what intentions do the West have, because obviously she's there representing USA, right? So before I even get into the reasons why she was there or the things she accomplished while she was there, I need to state that Ghanaians felt disrespected by the way their security officials were treated by the security detail that came with the Vice President Kamala Harris. Let me play the clip right here.
This is Ghanaian security people being screened by US police in Ghana just because US Vice President came to visit Ghana. Instead of Ghanaian security people or police screening the US people, it's now the US screening Ghanaians in their own place. It means they don't even trust the Ghanaian police and the Ghanaian security. Can you imagine? What kind of disgrace and nonsense is this? And Ghana is there looking. They are screening you in your own place, in your airport, in your country. Can you go to America and screen American police? Are you? Of course you can.
So I can definitely understand their sentiments, because I do not see where maybe the president of Ghana or any other African country, in fact, or any country in the world, would make a trip to the US, and instead of the US security, you know, patting them down and doing all the security checks and all that, it happens the other way around. So for you to come to Ghana and then your security basically takes over, I can understand why it's a big deal. You guys, let me know what you think about that in the comment section. So now to talk about what the Vice President went to Ghana to accomplish, I came across this video.
A lot of the focus of my trip on the continent during these next few days will be on increasing the relationship, in particular from the U.S. private sector, for investment on the continent of Africa, knowing that it will generate prosperity to the benefit not only of the people on this continent, but the people in my country as well.
Well, what does Africa have that Kamala wants so bad? Joe and Kamala promised to make America green. They can't do that without strip mining Africa for all it's worth. Africa's rich with minerals, key minerals, the ones Biden needs to build electric car batteries, turbines, and solar panels. So Joe sent Kamala to Africa with the bag. The vice president showed up on Sunday with a big smile and a check for $100 million. She told him it was to fight extremists. I didn't know there were Republicans in Ghana. And they happily took the bribe, I mean the check. But what are we getting for it? Africa's precious natural resources, of course. Everything to power the Green New Deal with. Is Kamala Harris the blackface of American colonialism? Well, she's there for the lithium and cobalt, the mother lodes in the Congo, and it's mined by children as young as 4. And without child labor, there's no electric cars, no solar panels. The Green New Deal's built on the back of African kids. It isn't a secret. It's been widely reported for years.
And then I think the major thing that caused most of the uproar on social media, which everybody was talking about, is the LGBTQ agenda that she also brought up in conversation. And I'm not surprised, because this has happened before. As a matter of fact, that other video that I did covers it, but that was as relates to Uganda. So now we're talking about Ghana. So this is not the first time that this is coming up in conversation with an African country, right? So let me play the clip right now.
Let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, you know that a great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues, equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBT community. And I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally. I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider, to be a human rights issue, and that will not change.
So thank you for the question. First of all, we don't have any such legislation here in Ghana. A bill has been proposed to the Parliament of Ghana, which has all kinds of ramifications, which is now being considered by the Parliament. It hasn't been passed, so the statement that there is legislation in Ghana to that effect is not accurate. No legislation. The bill is going through the Parliament. It's going through the Parliament. The Attorney General has found it necessary to speak to the committee about it regarding the constitutionality or otherwise of several of its provisions, and the Parliament is dealing with it. At the end of the process, I will come in. But in the meantime, the Parliament is dealing with it. And I have no doubt that the Parliament of Ghana will show, as it's done in the past, first of all, its sensitivity to human rights issues, as well as to the feelings of our population, and will come out with a responsible response to the proposed. The legislation was a legislation that has been provided as a private member's bill. This is not an official legislation of the government, but it is one that has been mooted by a handful of private members. So we will see what the final outcome of it. But my understanding from a recent discussion I had with the chairman of the committee, the substantial elements of the bill have already been modified as a result of the intervention of the Attorney General. We will see what the final outcome.
A lot of Africans, Ghanaians most especially, were very displeased with the way the president answered. They felt he wasn't being direct enough. They felt he was trying to be diplomatic and not coming out outrightly to say what most of them expected him to say, which is, no, we have no plans to legalize LGBTQ, or we are passing laws that's going to make it a crime, just like some other African countries have done. So a lot of Africans and even non-Africans and leaders and regular folks as well have come out to express their displeasure in that, in quote, diplomatic answer that the president of Ghana gave in response to that question about legalizing LGBTQ, especially when they have the response the president of Uganda gave to compare his own response to. Just as you can see in this clip.
Uganda and Ghana
Many in the
on
international community are saying
LGBTQ+.
that by your signing of this bill, you're taking Uganda a step backwards, that you are not protecting the freedoms and the rights and the choices of the Ugandan people. So how do you respond to that? And specifically, President Obama has said he was deeply disappointed by Uganda's move and says that it would complicate US-Uganda relations. I've listened to everything that you've said in the statement, so how would you respond to that? And does it worry you, and have you spoken directly to President Obama about this?
Well, we have been disappointed for a long time by the conduct of the West, the way you conduct yourselves there. But we just keep quiet. We just see how you do things, how the families, how they are organized, in all these things. We see them, we keep quiet. We never comment because it's not our country. Maybe you like it. So, since there is now an attempt at social imperialism to impose social values of one group on our society, then our disappointment is now exacerbated, because we are sorry to see that you live the way you live, but we keep quiet about it. Now you say we must also live like us. That's why we say no. We say no. And am I worried? Not at all. We should be worried about what? Because to tango needs two people to dance. If the West doesn't want to work with us because of homosexuals, then we have enough space here to live by ourselves and do business with other people.
You guys see that the Ugandan president did not mince words when he said no. So I think people were kind of expecting a similar kind of response to that, especially because this issue of LGBTQ, legalizing it and all of that has been going on in Ghana before, and the Ghanaian president has expressed in previous clips before that he does not intend to legalize it.
I've said this before, and let me in conclusion stress again that it will not be under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that same-sex marriage will be legal. The same-sex marriage will be legalized in Ghana. It will never happen in my time as president.
So they were wondering why he couldn't just say the same thing now that he was being asked face to face by the Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, you guys, I came across this clip and let me just roll it for you guys.
Well, there's still work to be done. You know, I've worked on this thing in Ghana right now because there's a lot of persecution of LGBTQI plus people in Ghana. So I've done a song where I'm singing to the president. I sing, you know, Nana Akufo-Addo. It's in the song. I've used him in the song.
And have you finished that?
It's online. It's
and
been,
do you know, has he heard it, you know?
I hope so. Mr. Nana Akufo-Addo, I sing to you. All love is true. I sing to you. You know it too. How can it be he don't love me? I hope he hears this.
Wow. And man, that voice is, you still got.
So from that clip, you can see that not everybody is displeased by the answer that the president of Ghana gave, right? Like they are composing a song for him. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to laugh. I'm not making light of the situation. But when I saw that singing clip, it was kind of funny. But moving on. So at this point, I'm going to play some reactions by some Ghanaian leaders and prominent people and members of parliament to the whole LGBTQ legalization situation.
That is undemocratic. What is democracy? That somebody else will have to dictate to me as to what is good and what is bad? Unheard of. Because we have decided to devalue ourselves and go a begging. Come on, the bill will be passed. This is the word to His Excellency the President. There is no way he can intervene. That answer he gave. That is now before Parliament. And when he gets to a stage that he will come in. Hey, please. This is legislation. This is not execution. Wait until we pass it and then we direct you to execute it. That is why you come in.
Kamala Harris is entitled to her opinion, the same way you're entitled to your opinion, the same way I hold the opinion that she and the American government are a bunch of cowards, you know, and that they have no right to talk about human rights because they're the biggest abusers of human rights. Child rights are equally human rights. And yesterday, 2 hours after that press conference with the president, a 28-year-old gun woman walked into an American school and killed 3 American children and killed 3 American teachers. It's the rights, one of the fundamental basic rights of any human being is the right to life. The American government, in which Kamala Harris is vice president, is failing to take decisive action on gun control. And so people who should not have access to weapons are having access to assault rifles and kill innocent children and teachers in America. And the vice president of that country wants to come and teach us human rights. I mean, the irony of it. She's a person of color. But for being vice president, what happened to George Floyd could easily have happened to her. Or any of the several people who have been killed in America by errant white policemen, which has led to the Black Lives Matter issue. If people have to demonstrate to let the American government know that Black Lives Matter, they need help from us. I've stated on record that myself and my colleagues are very willing to engage the American government and the US Congress to help them shape laws that will clamp down on gun violence because they really have need for it. But it's the hypocrisy of the US where they call homosexuality a human rights issue in Africa, but yet they are doing business with countries where homosexuality is frowned upon. Over $1 billion of military hardware is sold to Qatar almost on a yearly basis. In Qatar, homosexuality is punished by death, not imprisonment. Why are they not threatening Qatar? One of the biggest trading partners of the United States government is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, it's punished by death. Why are they not threatening them? Why are they not threatening Russia? Then they come to Ghana and Africa and they want to come and threaten us with LGBTQ. The American government is a bunch of hypocrites. If they really want to flex their muscle, they should go and flex their muscle on Russia, India, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, the places where they are selling weapons to.
I am particularly impressed by how articulate Mr. Sam George was. That man obviously knows what he's talking. He gave America a read. He said everything that we were thinking. You guys are talking about human rights, but America is not even a good example of what you guys are trying to preach to us, right? We are very well aware of what is happening to our black brothers and sisters over there. Don't they have rights as well? Because they are humans. You guys have not fixed that. The number of shootings, and there's just a lot happening in America that I feel they do not have the right to come and tell another country how to run their country. Just like Mr. Sam George says, the hypocrisy is showing. So at this point, I'm going to play some reactions by regular folks on this same LGBTQ in Ghana situation.
The 3 nights that she spent here, she was in the arms of her husband, a man. The 3 nights that she spent here. So I was like, are we to listen to what she's saying, or we are to watch what she's doing?
A handsome man.
Is it cognitive dissonance or what? You came with your husband just for 3 nights. She understood how, how important it is to be in the arms of a man as a woman. For the 3 nights. Then you talk about human rights. Please, we are a sovereign country. We have our own rights. It's unfortunate our president was not bold enough as his predecessors did. But I believe majority of us do not support that, and they should respect that.
Okay.
And they should also at least commensurate with us for taking our people for free labor to build their country for over 700 years, and today they feel they are in a better position to dictate to us.
This issue of imposing on us their queer culture.
What do you mean by queer culture?
Queer culture, look, how do you see, Adam, as we sit here, you want a partner, right? You want a partner, then you just look at this man with his dry head.
Instead of cooking.
Yeah, you see this man with his dry head and say that man to man. Or you see Saka and you say that you want to marry Saka. It's not acceptable in any part of our African culture.
According to their culture, sexuality is a choice.
Fantastic. So keep it in your culture. Keep it in your land. Why are you imposing it on other people that is not part of their culture? If you are a Ghanaian, you are a Nigerian, and you want to enjoy your homosexuality life, jump into the countries that will tolerate you. Within our culture, it's not permissible.
I told you guys that this Kamala Harris visit, there is nothing sensible that is going to come out of it. It's going to be about LGBTQ right nonsense. What the hell is wrong with these people? Why can't they leave us to rest in peace? We determine the future of our own country. The destiny of our country is in our hands. So they should better go back to their country and think about how to pay their debt. They are heavily indebted, over 31 trillion. Kamala Harris, please leave us alone. We determine the future of our country. LGBTQ have no right in Africa.
We should be able to control our needs, to deny the wrong things. If what you are doing is okay, you don't need law, go ahead. This is even traditionally not allowed. True. Do you know, say recently, the American medical, by agreement say, don't give a child a gender. You abofrana and manage gender so your ba na bema cause he say onwa enya 12 to know say I want to be a boy or a girl. Hello. We want our roads and things, not men and women. God didn't create Adam and Steve. He created Adam and Eve.
Listen closely.
America right now comes to Tanzania, comes to Ghana, comes to Zambia with 16 million. And guess what? 16 million only for Zambia. The 16 million, ask me, what is it for?
What is it for?
For human rights. Across the river, China and Russia coming to South Africa, ask me for what?
For what?
For a military training and skills sharing of security. So the Americans are more interested in a transgender, homosexual agenda around the world. They will invest their money and give you money to protect human rights. Russia and China are coming with weapons and militarization strategies so that we can protect ourselves. So I want to say this very loud and clear to the Americans. Continue on your transgender agenda. Stay there. Leave us to do politics on the other side. Because what we need right now is not a minority human rights activation. What we need is a societal transformation.
A question for the Vice President of the United States, Sister Kamala Harris. You were in Ghana a few days ago. Sister Kamala Harris, you was in my motherland a few days ago. You didn't go to Africa to cancel the debt that they shouldn't even owe to the World Bank and International Monetary Fund of the United States government. You didn't go to Ghana to build no institutions for African people. You didn't go to Ghana to pay no reparations for African slavery. You didn't go to Ghana to do anything progressive for African people. And for all the problems we have in the African diaspora, we got wars going on in Africa. We got gang banging going on in Africa. We got genocide going on in Africa. We got hunger going on in Africa. Not that all of Africa is struggling with those things, because Africa is a modern paradise. But my point is, there are issues in Africa. But you went to Africa to make Africa safe for the Rainbow Mafia. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord, of all the problems you could have dealt with in Africa, like reparations for American theft of African bodies for 400 years, you didn't deal with that. No, no, no. You flew how many thousand miles to do what? Have a conversation with the president to make sure Ghana is safe for the Rainbow Mafia. No disrespect to my African rainbow gangers, but if you can't see the agenda, if you still can't see the agenda by now, if there is any question left in your mind that the whole purpose of the Zaya Wade phenomenon, the whole purpose of the Rainbow Gang Mafia, the whole purpose of this agenda in Africa is the extermination of black life. It is the repudiation of the black family. It is about the genocide of God's original people. Why does America care how Africa chooses to regulate familyhood? What does America care for how Africa chooses to run their culture? What does America care for how Africa decides to define family?
You guys, the uproar that has been caused by what the president of Ghana said in response to Vice President Kamala Harris was further fueled by the fact that the Jubilee House, which is the presidential palace, was lit in these colors that people believe are the LGBTQ colors.
I'm saying to you that our seat of government, the Jubilee House, is today adorned in the colors and in the repulsive colors of LGBTQ.
That is true.
By a government that is pro-LGBTQ, and that government is being led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
But it has also been put out there that those colors are not LGBT colors, that they are simply the colors of the Ghanaian flag and the colors of the US flag. But on the screen, you guys can see the colors of both flags. I think you guys should make of it what you want. Do you think the colors of the Jubilee House are closer to the LGBTQ colors or the colors of the two countries' flags? Drop your comments in the comment section. Then I think one other thing that struck me about the visit of Vice President Kamala Harris was when she went to the Cape Coast of Ghana. That's one of the historical sites where a lot of the slaves from Africa were shipped off from during transatlantic slavery. We have a lot of spots like that in different West African countries. So that's one of such locations there in Ghana. So on visiting there, she made this very touching speech.
In Ghana, where hundreds of thousands of people were shipped across the Atlantic into slavery in this country, Vice President Kamala Harris made a speech that would get her fired if she were a public school teacher in Florida today, where teaching the real history of the United States has been banned by Republican extremists. Here is Vice President Kamala Harris speaking on the coast of Ghana yesterday.
So being here was immensely powerful and moving. When we think about how human beings were treated by the hundreds of thousands in this very place that we now stand, the crimes that happened here, the blood that was shed here, men, women, and children, they were kidnapped from their homes. They were transported hundreds of miles from their homes, not really sure where they were headed. And they came to this place of horror before they were then forcibly taken on a journey thousands of miles from their home to be sold by so-called merchants and taken to the Americas, to the Caribbean, to be an enslaved people. What happened here must always be remembered. It cannot be denied. It must be taught. History must be learned. And we must then be guided by what we know also to be the history of those who survived in the Americas, in the Caribbean, those who proudly declare themselves to be the diaspora.
I don't know about you guys, but it's strategic that she would say that, especially when you consider the fact that that very history that she's talking about, that the history needs to be taught and the history needs to be learned, is the same history that are kind of banning from being taught in schools in America. But everybody knows that there's a lot of whitewashing going on when it comes to the history of America as relates to slavery and the black people, right? So the same history that you guys want to silence in America is the same history she's coming here and trying to evoke feelings or trying to make us believe that she's having these feelings of sadness and all of that. I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem very genuine, because at this point, I'm not just looking at her as a person of color. I know she's our sister, but I'm looking at her as what she represents. She represents the government of USA. To me. So I don't know, it just seems strategic to me that she will come and say all that, but in the US the same history is what they are trying to hush, right? I want to know what you guys think. What do you think America is trying to achieve by these visits to Africa? What do you guys think the West is really up to in these African countries? And it saddens me that we see a lot of black people being used as pawns when it comes to the West trying to come to Africa and do all of these things that they are trying to do. You know, they used Obama to start trying to push the LGBT legalization situation. Now Kamala Harris, I think the US press secretary herself has spoken on this before. These are all black people. Is it just coincidence, or is it part of their strategy? Is this intentional? I want you guys to let me know what you think. And what do you guys think about the response that the president of Ghana gave? Do you think there's nothing wrong with the answer that he gave, or do you also agree with people that are criticizing him for giving that kind of, in quotes, diplomatic answer? You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you want to know how it went down in Uganda with the West, check out this video as well. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.